My, Betsy, that is a beautiful freaking lake of Iscalium. Absolutely gorgeous, stunning, bewildering, incredible. Put it on a postcard and send it to my freaking mama. It'd be a crying freaking shame if something were to happen to it. Wouldn't you agree? Greetings, cyberdogs and citizens of the interbubs. This is ReNDoG coming at you in another episode of Modded Minecraft from the HermitPack server. I wanted to start today's episode with a very serious question for all of you people out there. Do you know what revenge smells like? Take a good long sniff, everybody. Smells like bacon and squid juice, if you ask me. Oh, baby. Today is a glorious day, my friends. Today, the ReNDoG is tapping into his evil side. And finally, after 20 episodes of HermitPack frickin' goodness, the ReNDoG is going to have his revenge on Iscal85. Today, my friends, we are pranking our Swedish potato something fierce. I'm going to be unleashing a prank on Iscal that is going to make his skin crawl, make his freaking brain explode, and make him never want to play modded ever again. Sorry, getting a little bit carried away over here. But seriously, today we're pranking Iscal, everyone, and it is going to be magical. Iscal is currently on a work trip right now, nowhere near his computer, and more importantly, nowhere near the HermitPack server, which means I have an opportunity to get my prank on, and I can go really, really big. I don't have to worry about Iscal logging on and seeing what I'm up to. I've got the entire day to prank my buddy, and it is gonna be beautiful, guys. Oh, man. Now, since we were last together, I have been working pretty hard on CyberdOg City over here. Thank you, by the way, for all of the amazing love and comments and likes in the previous episode. Jeez, guys. Got like a ridiculous amount of views on the last episode. You guys smashed the like button, something fierce, and it got me super inspired and super pumped up. So don't stop what you're doing, okay, guys? I love it, man. I freaking love it. But in the previous episode, we were setting up a plastic factory, weren't we? Freaking awesome. Turned out real great. But a lot of you guys were shouting at me. You were shouting at me about the roads here in CyberdOg City, telling me that they were way too small and way too thin. And you know what, guys? I think you were 100% right. So what I've done is I've shrunk all of the buildings by 1 block around their circumference. And that's given our road a block on either side of it. And I think that's actually looking pretty freaking sweet. And talking about sweet, man, take a look at the map over here. Take a look how awesome the city's starting to look. Oh man, that looks so badass. Anyway, yeah, the roads are coming along real good, and I've just been shrinking down our buildings all over the place. Now, I've got another building set up for today. Last time we made a factory together. This time we're going to be making another factory because I really enjoy doing it. But this factory is going to be making something, well, rather disgusting, to tell you the truth. This factory is going to be making blood. And lots of blood. I'm talking liters, gallons, freaking oil tankers worth of blood. It's gonna be so awesome. Okay, yep, getting carried away again. Sorry, everybody. Jeez. The revenge is cooking in my soul right now. I can't wait to get to it. But guys, there's some good news before we start the prankage. Oh man, I'm so excited about this. You guys know that for, well, this entire series to date, we've been trying to fire up on bacon power, haven't we? We've been trying a whole bunch of different ways to get on our own feet here in HermitPack. At the moment, we're feeding off Iscal's power supply. By flicking this switch, I'm sucking up about 50,000 RF from Iscal. Actually, make that 80,000. And, you know, it's been pretty cool running off Iscal's power, but I think it's about time that we start running off our own power. And we have been waiting for Iscal to set up a barbecue pulled pork factory for us in Area 85. And I'm very pleased to let you guys know, man, that is now done. We've got an array of culinary generator MK3s over here, everyone, and these things are ready to receive a pretty much infinite supply of BBQ pulled pork burgers because Iskal has completed his side of the bargain. And take a look at this, guys. This transdimensional deceiver is getting all of those burgers from Iskal's ridiculously fast factory. His factory actually produces burgers faster than I can send him ingredients, which is pretty insane. And this thing's ready to fire up, guys. So let's turn this on to all active, and we can see the burgers coming in and getting sucked out instantly into our culinary generators. Let's take a look. How all of these bad boys are cooking. Oh, baby, they're all cooking, eating up those freaking tasty-ass burgers. Oh, man, let's just make sure all of them are running. Okay, so on 4 culinary generator MK3s all being fed with barbecue pulled pork burgers, we can generate a total of 16,000 RF per tick. And that, my friends, is freaking awesome. 16,000 RF per tick is more RF than we currently need in our little base over here. So that is fantastic. We're only using about 1,500. If we turn on the freaking pig factory, that is going to use a little bit more. But I reckon if we cranked on everything in our laboratory, we wouldn't even get close to using up 16,000 RF per tick. So massive thank you to Iskal for setting up that factory for us. And I'm super pumped now. I'm going to turn on my freaking iron factory now too. I just want to waste power now, you know. Now that I got it, I just want to spend it, baby. There we go. Get wrecked, Silverfish. Also, what's going on with these walls? This is not right. Looks like somebody's been around here trying to fix something, but broke it instead. Iskal, looking at you, bro. Anyway, even though I've got mad love for my Iskalian brother, today he's getting his butt pranked, guys. It is going to be freaking amazing. Sit back and relax. I hope you have a tasty beverage. I hope you have a crunchy snack, because it is time to make a ridiculous amount of blood. Oh, it's music to my ears, cyber dogs. The sound of water and Iskalium congealing into an infinite amount of squishy squid giblets. Oh, it sure is a magnificent thing. I come here every single morning and stare into the abyss of the reactor as those disgusting calamari beasts are generated out of this scientific fusion of Iskalium and water. It's magnificent. It's beautiful. I love it. But I gotta tell you guys, we got a little bit of a problem up in here. The cyber labs are developing, well, how shall we say, a pong, a tang, a smell. This place is starting to stink like an abandoned frickin' fishmongers, man. We are having a ridiculous buildup of squishy squid eyeballs, ink sacs, tentacles, lips, beaks, and all other disgusting things that come out of calamari. And we need to find somewhere to deposit all of those nasty bits and pieces, right? And, well, I think I know a perfect place for all of those disgusting squid bits. It's going to be awesome. But before we get to that, we've got a factory to make over here. We need to make some blood. This is probably the weirdest episode of Minecraft Modded that I think I've ever made, but it's going to be awesome. Check it out, guys. I got a whole bunch of stuff in my inventory right now, and we're going to be making a pretty interesting machine today, something that we haven't made in the series so far, with the goal of making a bucket o' blood. Now, take a look at this. We need something called a bottler to stick blood into a bucket. That's going to be the goal of our factory. And to create blood, we've got a couple of ways to create blood over here, but I think the most interesting way to create blood is out of this thing called an industrial squeezer from Immersive Engineering. And I completely love this machine. Check it out. There's some rotten flesh in there, and what this thing does is it actually crushes that rotten flesh, like if it was making wine out of grapes, for example. And out of that rotten flesh comes some leather, because obviously the rotten flesh gets dried out, right? And the blood gets stored in this tank over here. And I just think that is so freaking disgusting and so awesome that it is perfect for our prank today. Now, the thing about an industrial squeezer is that it is actually a multi-block machine. So you don't just make it out of, like, you know, you don't just go to a crafting table and make one. You actually have to make it out of a multiple number of items, which is pretty interesting. I did a little bit of practicing before. Let's see if I can actually pull this off, okay? These are all of the things that we need to make this thing. We need to start off with some steel scaffolding, and if I remember correctly, we got to do something like this. We got to do like a little U shape like this, right? And what I'd like to do is create 2 of these industrial squeezes. We want to be squeezing out as much blood from rotten flesh as we possibly can. So let's see if I can actually get this done and remember the recipe without breaking up my factory too much. Okay, we're going to need a few more of these scaffoldings over here. By the way, all of these blocks are from Immersive Engineering, and they're very, very simple to craft. So if you guys want to do this on your own world and create an insane amount of blood, don't worry, it's actually kind of simple. Why anybody would make an insane amount of blood, I have no idea, but it's what I'm going to be doing today. Okay, so check it out. We're just going to start working on one of the squeezes to start with. We've got to have these scaffoldings around like this. Then we've got to place these 2 things over here, these light engineering blocks on top of each other. Then we're going to place 2 fluid pipes in the center over here. Okay, next up, we want our wooden barrels. And, you know, while we're watching this, it actually makes quite a lot of sense, right? So these wooden barrels is where the squeezage happens, right? This is where the rotten flesh gets squashed. This is like the control center, I guess, of the whole thing. And we also need to put something called a redstone engineering block over here. Then what we need to do is actually install the squeezer itself. We're going to do that with a piston over here that we need to make face down. So the piston is going to be pushing into the barrels and crushing those disgusting congealed liquids out of that rotten flesh into the barrels, right? So that kind of makes sense. And then what we got to do is put a steel fence around it like this. Okay, so that is the, I guess, the design for the squisher, which is what I'm going to call it. And to make this thing work, you got to get your engineer's hammer out, and you just got to right-click on that middle block. But that is actually not working, I think probably because it's connected over here. Let's have a look. Is that going to work now? Boom. Oh, come on, baby. You know you can do it. I've done something wrong over here, it seems. It's probably got something to do with these fences over here. I remember trying to do this off camera, and it was kind of annoying. You got to get it absolutely perfect. I think it might work like this. Let's turn that piston to face down again. Okay, there we go. And let's have a look. Boom, baby, there we go. It made this awesome machine over here called a freaking wooden barrel. No, it's called an industrial squisher. That's what it's called. I've forgotten what it's called, and I'm just going to call it an industrial squisher. Pretty cool looking machine, right? There is where the squishing happens, and we got to do quite a lot of wiring and stuff to get this thing fired up, and that's going to be sweet. So check it out. This is the plan for this factory. Upstairs, this is where we're going to be doing the blood making. These machines are going to be making the blood for us, and then downstairs, we're going to be processing that blood into buckets of blood so that we can use them today for our plans over at Area 85. It's going to be pretty sweet. Let me see if I can get this second industrial squisher done, and then we can start laying down some cables, baby. I just realized that nobody is ever going to want to work in this building of CyberdOG City, man. The stuff going on in here is absolutely disgusting. Machines squishing down rotten freaking zombie flesh. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, take a look at this. Looking pretty cool. I've got my 2 industrial squishers ready to go over here, and we're going to start doing some cabling now. This is actually really, really cool, and I wanted to bring you guys back for this. Firstly, what we need to do, of course, is get some power into these things, and take a look at this. This is where the dials, and this looks like some sort of an air vent, so we can say that that is pretty much the power input, and we know that it actually works because the energy conduit connects to it. We'll do the same on this side now, too. Now, we know that these things are going to be generating a number of outputs. They're going to be creating leather from that rotten flesh and blood, which means there are 2 outputs from our industrial squishers. And look at this. There's the first output. Now, if you have a look underneath this thing, let's try and just fly and have a look. Look at that. You can see this pipe that runs into the bottom of this barrel area, and that is where all the liquid is flowing, obviously, right? All of the blood getting squeezed out of that rotten flesh has got to be coming down here. So we can pretty much assume that these things are the liquid output. So we're going to install a fluid conduit over here, and this is going to be turned on to extract and always active to suck out all of that tasty ass blood. Let's turn that into extract 2. And what we're going to be doing is sending all of that blood down to the second floor for processing, which we will get to in a moment. But let's get back up to this floor. We've got a little bit more cabling to do. Now, there's one more byproduct coming out of this little factory floor, and that is, of course, that leather that is getting squished out of the rotten flesh. And obviously, that is probably going to be coming out of this hole over here, or this hole over here, I guess. Let's try an item conduit. Okay, so there we go. It's coming out of that hole over there. And and it's probably going to be coming out of this one too. Let's just try get one down. Okay, perfect. So what we could do is probably stick like a small storage crate down here, right? And this is going to be the byproduct of this factory process. I don't know what we could use leather for. Do any of you guys out there know of any good uses for leather in modded Minecraft? I can't think of any. Anyway, the factory's going to be pumping out all of that leather into this storage crate, so that's pretty cool. I mean, what we could do is probably just change the storage crate into a trash can if we don't want any of that leather. But for now, let's store it, man. You never know, right? You never actually know what you might need these items for. Now, let's adjust these to always active. There we go. Okay, so our piping is done. That's pretty cool, right? I love it. Nice and clean. I love how this is looking. Now, let's get down to the second floor where we're going to be processing the blood. That blood is going to be coming directly down. Oh, hang on. Oops, my bad. Let's just break that over there. Jeez, okay. The blood is going to be coming directly down into, we're going to insert it into this fluid tank over here. This is an Ender IO fluid tank. And over here we have something called a bottler. Now the bottler is the last step in our little blood factory process. If you take a look how to build this, it's a little bit of a pain. You need something called bronze, which is rather annoying. But all you got to do is smelt tin and copper in an alloy furnace to get yourself some bronze, and then you can very easily make a bottler. And what a bottler does is it puts liquid into bottles or into buckets, which is pretty cool. Now, we're going to need a ridiculous amount of buckets of blood for today's episode, so why don't we start with the output, okay? So this cable is going to be going into a medium storage crate, which I've made a little bit earlier over here. This is going to be cranking all of the buckets of blood. This is going to be completely filled with blood, which is going to be amazing. But what we do need to do, though, is ensure that this bottler has a consistent supply of buckets. So what I want to do is set up like a little crafter over here that's going to make buckets for us. And I think we can pretty much do it quite easily by just planting it right next to the bottler. Okay, perfect. I probably need to configure this though. And we're also going to need to get power down into these machines. Now let's have a look. Oh, I've already got the bucket recipe in here. Okay, so this thing is going to be creating a bunch of buckets. Let's stick an iron chest above it. This is going to be the input chest for iron ingots. So once we begin the whole process of the factory, I'm going to stick a bunch of iron ingots in here, which we actually are making right now with the silverfish. That's going to make an insane amount of buckets, and the bottler is going to make an insane amount of buckets of blood, hopefully. Okay, so last thing that we need to do is get some power down into our second floor. And what we could probably do is just leech some power from here, right? And because these Ender IO conduits stick together in one block, we can actually just cable it down like this. Keep it nice and neat, right? There we go. Beautiful. That's going to go down into the fluid tank, which I don't actually think needs power. So we could probably just come around like this and come down like that. And there we go. So the bottler's got RF, and now the crafter has RF too. Looking pretty good. Although this is, I don't know, we could probably make it a little bit neater, couldn't we? Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick the bucket over here. The OCD is kicking in, guys. The OCD is kicking in. We did such a great job on our plastic factory, right? Like with all of the symmetry and stuff. Let's try and make sure that we keep going with that with our factories. There we go. Okay, so the crafter now has power, the bottler's got juice, and this is going to be the final output for blood. I guess all I need to do now is make sure that it's working, get it fired up, and also find a ridiculous amount of rotten flesh. Didn't think about that. I'll be back with you in, well, probably 20 minutes. Stop the presses, everybody. This is highly ethical journalist ReNDoG coming at you with a breaking news story. Live from Tropical Burgers, one of the world's favorite burger chains. Everybody knows a Tropical Burger is one of the tastiest you can get. And yes, there are a ridiculous number of amazingly tasty burgers on the menu. But we have been doing some deep diving into the hygiene practices of this fast food chain, and we are absolutely devastated to have to report that Tropical Burgers have been using the undead as their primary meat ingredient. Let all of your friends and family know if they have recently munched down on a Tropical Burger, they might have been eating a dead relative. This must stop here, and we hereby confiscate all of this rotten flesh. I always knew there was something dodgy about those Tropical Burgers, guys. I've been eating them for a week now, and my stomach is a freaking mess, man. I'm gonna sue their asses. Oh, man. Anyway, check it out, guys. Our blood factory is about ready to start pumping. Thank you to Iskal for letting me have all of the rotten flesh, and we're going to be turning all of this into blood. It's going to be awesome. Now, I had to set up a few more conduits over here. I've changed this to the brown channel, so that is going to be sending that rotten flesh into the crusher area, and then it's going to be sucking out the leather out of it. So we've got an input and an output over here. Hope that makes sense. Pretty easy to understand, really. Yeah, this is going to be the flesh input, and this is where the leather is going to come out, basically. On the other side of things, I've connected up all of the power. That's looking good. I've also done all of the cabling and stuff down here. Our fluid tank is also going to be sending all of that liquid into the bottler below, so that should be functioning good. Got a whole bunch of iron in the input chest over here. The crafter is going to be sucking those iron ingots out of that chest, so the factory should be good to go. Let's get some power in here, and we can use our own power now, which is amazing, right? ReNDoG channel, get the freaking RF up in here, man. Let's have a look. Are these things fired up? Yes, they are. Very nice. 16,000 RF per tick for our industrial squishers. And it's time to get this bad boy a-cooking. What I think I'm going to need to do, though, is start the flow of materials, right? So let's start the flow of the rotten flesh. I think I'm going to turn these ones on. Always active. Oh, look at that. Look at it pumping away. Squishing that rotten flesh. That is so awesome. Oh, I love modded Minecraft so freaking much, man. Let's get this one cranking also. Let's have a look. There they go. Look at them pressing that rotten flesh, squeezing all of the blood and freaking bits out of it. That's amazing. Okay, let's go down to the second floor. Make sure this is working. We can see the blood is sort of getting in the tank, but they're getting sucked straight into the bottler below. And we are getting a little bit of blood. Not too much blood, to be honest. That's actually kind of slow from these two machines. Squish faster, you bastards! Jeez. Anyway, we need to start the production of our bottles, or of our buckets here, don't we? So let's turn this on. Always active. That crafter should now be making buckets. Should now be making buckets. Hello. You should be pulling. Oh, it needs to pull from here. Okay, so it's going to be pulling from that chest. Yep, it's getting all the iron that it needs, and it's making a ridiculous amount of buckets. This may be overkill on the bucket side of things. It looks like buckets are being produced way quicker than blood can be produced. Also, the buckets are going to need to get pushed into the bottler. There we go. All right, the buckets are arriving. That's an insane amount of bucket action. The blood is, well, slowly building up. Have we got any buckets of blood yet? No. Okay, this is going to be a slow freaking process, man. Can you squish faster, please? Jeez. Turns out, Cyberdogs, I actually wired up our industrial squishers completely incorrectly. I'm such an idiot, man. These side slots over here are the input slots, and there's another little hole over here, which is the output slot for the leather. So I've done a little bit of recabling. You can see the item conduit coming out of this side of the barrel, going all the way down into the bottom, and this should be collecting the leather. Yep, there is the leather, and then the top storage crate should be sending all of that delicious rotten flesh into the squishers. And the squishers should be doing their business and making the liquid. Let's get down here and see if our factory is actually working. Okay, there we go. We've got a bunch of freaking blood coming over here, but there's no power into the bottler. So that is another little area that I have made. I am a fool, and it looks like the only way we're going to be able to do this is to run a cable like this into the bottler, right? So let's get some power into the bottler like a so. Come on, baby. There you go. And let's just clean this up a little bit. We don't need this power over here. There we go. So the bottler should be working. Did it actually make a bucket of blood? I think it did. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Bucket of blood. Very, very nice. Let's take a look at this, man. Oh, that is freaking glorious. I love it. This is going to be perfect. To all aspiring modded city builders out there who are thinking about setting up their own blood squishing facility, I need to warn you, there are two major disadvantages to setting up a factory like this. Number one, it takes for freaking ever, man. And number two, it stanks like nobody's business. Whew, man. The odors around here are freaking pungent. Take a look at this, guys. I have now successfully squished down tens of thousands of disgusting Tropical burger undead patties of awfulness into a ridiculous number of buckets of blood. Take a look at this. I've got so much blood. It is insane. Exactly what we need to pull off our prank today. Also got a whole bunch of squid bits, which is perfect for what we want to do. But yeah, this has taken a long time to actually get all of this blood. I've actually had to AFK for about an hour and a half to get this done. But that's cool. Had some lunch, and now I am ready to unleash the pranking fury upon the Iskall. Let's take ourselves over to Area 85, guys. Things are about to get freaking nasty, baby. A question for all of you Iskalians out there. What was the first thing you guys thought when you saw this massive green lake just outside of Iskall's amazing Area 85 base? Well, I'm sure you probably thought it's a giant freaking lake of Iskalium, ReNDoG, you idiot. Well, the first thing I thought when I saw this was a giant freaking sewerage runoff. I mean, it's green water. It's disgusting. It's infected. It's even got squids in it. I mean, seriously. And today, my friends, we are going to be transforming this lake into what it should freaking be. A giant sewerage runoff for squid giblets. I have set up a massive sewerage pipe over here that comes from the Cyber Labs, obviously. And this sewerage pipe is going to be pumping all of those disgusting squid bits directly into this sewerage runoff lake, otherwise known as a giant lake of Iskalium, which I will say does look absolutely amazing. That's the reason why I've been making all of this blood, guys. We're going to be transforming this lake from a gorgeous green into a disgusting red. This pipe is going to be the pipe responsible for spewing forth a ridiculous amount of blood into this area, and we're going to be finding a way to add squid giblets into that blood. Let the pranking continue, guys. Iskall, get wrecked, my Swedish potato. Let's start off by adding a couple of blood sources over here, right? Let's start by adding them over here. We need this to flow over the edge of our pipe. Okay, that didn't work, so it looks like we probably need to go one block forward with our blood. There we go. Let's take a look. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's freaking amazing. Look at that blood pumping down onto the surface of the lake, transforming it into this ridiculously disgusting red. Oh, this is going to be so epic, guys. All right, so next step, we need to find a way to deposit squid giblets into this pipe. I want us to be able to see squid beaks, calamari, and ink sacs pouring out of this pipe into the Iskalium lake. And take a look at this. I've got a bunch of stuff in my inventory to make this happen. Going to be pretty simple to do, actually. Not a very complicated build, which is good news for me. I don't have to do much thinking. We're going to be using droppers to do this. And I'm going to place a couple of droppers over here, and let's place a couple of timers down too. I think we were using these timers in our squid factory, weren't we? There we go. Let's get some timers into the droppers. Now, these droppers are going to be spitting out these squid bits over here, but we want to create a perpetual loop of this, right? So here's what I propose that we do. Let's get down to the bottom of where this blood pours, because those items are going to flow down here and then go all the way down here to the bottom here. And let's set up a little bit of a vacuum chest down here, okay? So let's get a vacuum chest plonked down. Yeah, a range of 6 should probably be good enough. And what we can do now is set up a transdimensional deceiver over here, probably underneath the... Oh, geez, I'm going to freaking drown. Derp! I'm such a freaking idiot, guys. I've had to re-record the segment because, well, I kind of messed up the configuration, but I think I know what I'm doing now. So we've got our vacuum chest on top of our transdimensional deceiver. The transdimensional deceiver is going to be pulling giblets from the vacuum chest, and it's going to be sending those giblets into a channel that I have named Squid Giblets. So let's change that to a Squid Giblets. So that transceiver is going to be sending to that channel. Now what we need to do is make sure that those giblets end up here in the pipe again, right? I'm going to be using one of Iskall's invisible transdimensional deceivers that he used to prank us. So get wrecked, Iskall. It's called Revenge, my Swedish potato. And this transdimensional deceiver is going to be receiving that squid giblets. So we'll stick that into receive. We should be seeing all of the bits coming in. There we go. Okay, so the beaks, the ink sacs, and the calamari are coming into this transceiver over here. Next up, we need to make sure that these giblets go into the droppers, right? So let's get a little bit of an item conduit going on over here. And this is going to be set to always on, always active, and we'll send this one into receive. And what I think we could probably do now is stick a bunch of our giblets into the send channel of this transceiver over here. So let's just do this, and hopefully this will, well, let's sort of mix it up a little bit too, right? So that it's kind of random and it's not just the same stuff getting sent out of the droppers. Oh, Iskal's gonna freak out so hard when he sees this, man. It looks absolutely disgusting. A couple of tweaks need to be made to it, though. It's currently not running as efficiently as it should. Firstly, I've adjusted the timing here on the timers. I've made this one tick a little bit faster than this one, giving this one time to restock its disgusting squid bits. And yeah, it seems to be running pretty good. The squid bits are going out at a constant rate, which is perfect. But what I think we do need to do, though, is fill up these walls over here, don't we? So that the squid bits don't sort of get stuck over there. One of the things that I've noticed with this little setup is that the squid bits are getting stuck up here in the pipe, but they're also sort of splashing out into the open down there. So I think I'm going to have to set up a secondary vacuum chest to ensure that all of these disgusting giblets get collected and sent back up into the pipe. And let's just make sure we block off all of this too, so that there's no spawning in the pipe itself. I want it to be really dark in here also, right? So that Iskal doesn't suspect what's going on. And we could probably do something like this, actually. Yeah, let's like patch all of this up with alabaster. There we go. So it just looks like that blood is pouring out of nowhere. That is perfect. All right, let's get down to the bottom of the ocean. I've set up a little bit of more of a flat area here because as you can see, those squid bits like dive all over the place or get sort of shot all over the place. And every now and then they get shot into this area over here. There you can see them down there. So I think what I need to do is add a secondary vacuum chest over here, connected with an item conduit so that it sends the items back, and probably flatten out all of this area too. And then our pipe of disgusting will be perfectly running, baby. Okay, there we go. Absolutely perfect. We got 2 vacuum chests here, picking up any rogue squid giblets and sending them straight up into the pipe. Now we can just cover all of the shame and leave it to go. I try to make it look as natural as possible. I mean, you can see the vacuum chest down there, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh man, this is coming together real good. That zombie's coming to have a swim in his brother's blood, which is kind of disturbing. But that's beautiful. Look at this. It's just functioning so perfectly. This is exactly what I wanted it to look like, man. Let's actually do a little bit more work here. Let's fill in this top section of the pipe too. There we go. That just makes it look a little bit more natural. Okay, so that's the tough part done. Next up, we need to turn this entire lake into blood. And that is going to be, well, it shouldn't be too difficult, but I suppose it's going to be a little bit tedious. Here's what I'm thinking. What we should do is probably start by just placing some blood on the actual surface. And what we could do is just go all the way around the circumference of the lake and every now and then place a blood source like this, right? That will sort of cover up the entire lake, but then we're going to be left with a section in the middle. So what we're probably going to have to do is something like this, right? We're probably going to have to run some lines of blocks like this and then place the blood sources next to them. I think I've got a whole bunch of blood in here. Yeah, so check it out, man. Then what we could do is do a little something like this, right? And that's going to sort of add a blood source like that. And, well, I guess I'm just going to have to make some zigzags of blocks across the entire lake to get it completely covered with blood. And that's going to be a pain in the butt. So I'll probably do that off camera. But before I forget, I've been trying to remind myself over and over again, I need to install this muffler into here because we can hear those droppers going crazy, right? And I want to get a muffler installed so that when Iskal comes here, until he figures out what's going on, he's not going to really know what's happening other than seeing all of these squid bits pouring out of here. So that's the thinking. Oh, I just added some cables. Nice ReNDoG. It's freaking dark, okay, guys? I can't freaking see anything right now. Okay, there we go. Sound has been muffled. Perfect. And squid bits are pouring into the lake. Now I just got to get this bad boy covered with blood. This is the weirdest prank I think I've ever done. Oh, that sneaky Swede. He knew that the ReNDoG might be up to something, man. I don't have permission in this area to place blocks, which means I probably won't be able to cover the entire lake in blood. But you know what? That actually might be pretty cool. That actually might look like even better if there's a little bit of the lake still green. That's still Iscalium, right? Showing that the sort of the infestation of the lake hasn't quite finished just yet. I just took a massive hit from something. I was a freaking guardian. This place is dangerous, man. Oh, this prank is coming along a treat, cyber dogs. I am so happy with how it's turning out. I'm freaking tingling right now Can't wait for Iskal to see it and for him to basically scream out in horror, I think is going to be his reaction. The bad news is, though, guys, I've run out of freaking blood. Can you freaking believe it? I had literally hundreds of buckets, and yeah, I need more. So back to the Cyber Labs with a whole bunch of zombie hearts, because there's no more rotten flesh in Tropical burgers. Check it out, man. A zombie heart gives you 6 rotten flesh, so that's a good way to get a bunch of rotten flesh. Let's get back to squishing. Even though I'm feeling a little bit like an axe murderer right now, Cyber Dogs, covered from head to toe in disgusting zombie blood, I gotta tell you something, man. I am so incredibly proud of this prank. Definitely the most ambitious and the biggest prank that I've ever done. And for all of the pranks that Iskal has done to us on the HermitPack server, I think this is a really good way to get him back. This gets him back for all of them, man, because it is so awesome. Are you guys ready to see one of the most disgusting pranks ever pulled in the Hermitcraft universe? Take a look at this. Iskal, my frickin' brother from a Swedish frickin' mama, get wrecked! Your entire Iskalium lake has been transformed into a disgusting frickin' ocean of squid blood and squid giblets. How does it feel, my Swedish potato? How does it frickin' feel? Let's take a look at the map. Oh, it's actually not red. That sucks. It's actually frickin' gray for some reason. Anyway, take a look at this, guys. I have covered the entire surface of Iskal's Iskalium pool with blood. I haven't replaced the Iskalium with blood in case some of you Iskalians are getting angry with me for griefing. It'll be pretty easy to clear this up, but I hope that Iskal keeps it like this for a while, because it's actually kind of beautiful. I love it, man. Look at this. I wish I could have done the whole lake though, but I can't actually edit here because Iskal hasn't added me to his permissions, which is probably a good thing, because I probably would have flooded the entire Area 85 with blood if I had the chance. But this is gonna have to do, man. I love it. All of the freaking squid excrement is being squirted from the Cyber Labs directly into Iskal's lake. And I am just so proud right now, man. I feel like $1 million. Get wrecked, Iskal. This is what you get for messing with the ReNDoG. How does it feel? Get freaking blooded, bro. Well, guys, that's just about going to do it from me today on the HermitPack server. I'm going to swim around in this blood like a freaking vampire because, man, I'm just so happy with how it's turned out. Hope you guys did enjoy the prank. Let me know what you think, man. I think it turned out absolutely awesome, and I know that Iskal is going to hate it, which is the most important thing of it all. It's very important that when he sees this lake of Iskalium, he freaks the jazz out. So head over to Iskal's channel. Make sure that you watch his reaction video and let me know how Iskal responds. I hope that his jaw hits the floor something fierce when he sees this disgusting jazz. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed the episode, okay? Keeps me inspired, makes me want to make more videos for you guys, and shows me that you appreciate the work that I do for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, well, now's the time to subscribe, because I'm sensing there might be some repercussions for what ReNDoG has done over here. But in the meantime, let's just bask in the glory of this bloody awful freaking prank. And I hope Iskal isn't too mad with me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. ReNDoG is coming at you from the HermitPack server, and we will smell you all in the next episode.